Hello and welcome to Emerald Planet as we come to you on a week-to-week basis from Washington, D.C. And we're looking around the globe for those 1,000 best practices, but at the same time we're looking for the future generations that are working now to be the decisions makers and at the same time to be active participants in where the world is going by 2050 and the end of the century. And I have two people sitting here with me that are really not only the leaders of the future, but also doing leadership roles right now, which is absolutely fantastic. And they're going to be talking about what's going on as far as the Model United Nations, the Global Studies Program, but representing the United Nations Association of the National Capital Area right here in Washington, D.C. And sitting right beside me is Yasmine Bolden. She is the 7th grade student and being homeschooled, I understand, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And Ethan Viera is sitting right over beside her. And he's actually in the Westland Middle School, I think, in Maryland. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, glad to have both of you here. And thank you for coming in and talking about what you're doing and this exciting new world of the future, right?
Yes, thank you for having us.
Well, we're glad you're here. Yasmine, tell us a little bit about your homeschooling education, what that really means, because in many countries they don't have that opportunity, as you may be aware. And then how does global studies fit into the curricula and where you think you're going in your future?
It's a very special opportunity to have, since not everyone can experience that kind of thing. And I'm a new homeschooler, so I'm still getting used to how it's different from public school, because this is my very first year. I've never done it before. And I heard about Model United Nations at my co-op, my homeschooling co-op, which is where a bunch of us homeschoolers get together to talk and basically socialize and do different things together.
Mm-hmm. Now, looking at homeschooling, and then I'm going over to Ethan, who's your teacher?
My teacher is my mom.
I know that, and I've met your mother. She is very dynamic, and I can tell why you like to have that experience. How is the interaction between your mom and yourself when you go from I'm at home and then you go to the kitchen or to whatever you're doing your study, and all of a sudden you're the student and she's the teacher? How does that work?
It's a very nice flow. It's not much different from when we're in the classroom, because we're still learning every day of our lives. We're learning in different ways, and so the classroom is sort of just an extension of that.
Mm-hmm. I think it's absolutely incredible, and like I said, many countries they don't have that opportunity, and I know some states are much more open to do that than others. Ethan, you attend a local school. It's called the Westland Middle School. Why do you think it's important to study international relations and to have these global studies as far as who you are as a person and where you see yourself being in the next, say, 5-10 years?
Well, I think it's very important for everybody to know what goes around and goes on in the world. We're all so connected by technology that we should all be global citizens. And it's fair for everyone to know what the conflicts that are happening in the world and what goes around.
Now, looking at that, you're talking about the conflicts and looking at nation states all around the globe, and there's many of those, as you know. It's about 214 different countries and territories around the globe. What do you think is special about learning about that then you can use in other courses like English and geography and mathematics and other courses that you may have? How does that all fit together?
Well, it gives you a big advantage in geography, knowing where different countries are. It's very important, because knowing that stuff, it just gives you such an advantage in most subjects, because you know about the countries, you know backgrounds, you know problems, and it's very important.
Yeah. Yasmine, looking at, you're familiar, of course, with the United Nations before this, but of course this is helping to broaden your experience and your understanding of the United Nations and what it's doing. But how is the global classrooms, you think, really helping you as far as your studies and how that really can help you with other courses that you're studying at the same time?
Well, before Model United Nations, I had heard vaguely about the United Nations and about what they do, but I had never really gone into depth thinking about how they really affect what we learn about our world and how they peacekeep. And I think Global Classrooms is bringing this wonderful opportunity to kids my age and older to learn about what's going on in the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm. Now, Ethan, you're doing this really with other youth, so it's not like it's something that you're doing by yourself.
Yes.
And so how do you think participating with, we can use this term, I believe, team or teams, as far as the global classrooms, the Model UN and all that, how do you think that's really helping you not only with your coursework, but also as just far as you as a person yourself? How do you think that really helps to build your background and where you may be going in the future?
Well, working with partners and other people is very important because it teaches you social skills, how to communicate properly, and really importantly, how to listen to other people. And in the future, I believe most jobs, you need to communicate and listen to other people. And being able to work with different people and get help if you need it on different things and help others on stuff that they need help with is also a very valuable asset.
Yeah, and just the fact that both of you are in the 7th grade, you're sitting here on the television, and it's just like we're having a chat, right?
Yes.
And, you know, many people, even as adults, are not able to do that. And so many people fear public speaking or having this kind of experience more than being in a fire or an automobile accident or whatever it may be. So it's giving you a poise that you would not have at any other time. And this is really the most important time for you to have this. Ethan, looking at what it is that you're doing, how do you see working with these other students? What are you able to actually impart to them, to teach them? Because not only are you a student, but at the same time you're a teacher as you share your information. How do you think that really helps the other students that you're working with?
Well, everybody that I'm working with, we're all helping each other because we all get the same topic. Everybody in the room has the same topic, but we get different countries. And different countries have different situations. They're all in different situations. My country was Guatemala, and my topic was food security. They are very undeveloped at the moment, and their food situation isn't very good. And me being able to teach people about Guatemala and what they're doing and their food situation, I feel very good about that because it gives you a sense of accomplishment when doing that. And also learning about different things from peers my own age is very nice.
Yeah, and this is something that people think that you're only learning from the adults. Actually, in many cases, and this is something, Yasmine, you may find that you're actually learning as much or more from the other students than you are from the adults that are participating in this. And when you have that experience, how do you feel about that, where somebody gives you something you said, I would have never ever thought about that, and all of a sudden you have all this new truth or new knowledge that you wouldn't have otherwise? How does that make you feel, and how do you translate that and share that back to the whole group?
Well, it gives you a special feeling on the inside when you learn from other children your age and you're not just being fed it by someone else. And it takes a moment for you to process, this is what's really happening somewhere, and I would have never thought about that, or maybe never even minded, but now you know, and you can share that knowledge with other people. Yeah,
I think that's great. And going back to you, Ethan, as far as the Guatemala experience, what do you think that you're taking away from that? Something that you had never thought about before you started studying it? I mean, you're looking at the climate and the economy and history and some of those things. But what are a couple of things that you've learned that really helps augment everything else that you're doing as far as your studies are concerned?
It teaches me how to research, because I had to research a lot on Guatemala, and knowing all this was very important, is very important for in the future and for the present, because having this information about Guatemala and their situation is nice because I can use that information whenever I need to. And also the research aspect of it, getting all the information, gathering it, is a good tool for later on.
Yasmine, looking at some of the research skills that you've gained, whether it's the library, the computer, combination of the two, what are some of the things, skills that you've actually learned that has helped you in this whole process as far as, the global classroom and also the Model UN and your general studies?
It's a very good asset to be able to know how to research, because you'll use that for the rest of your life and most of your jobs, most professional jobs. You need to be able to research effectively. And I use that during my studies when I have to do a book report. I look in the book and do research in the book. Or instead of using all electronic devices, I have learned how to use library. And it's a wonderful, wonderful asset to have.
Yeah, Ethan, this is something we really didn't talk about before the program, but Yasmine brings up a very important point. Everybody thinks everything now is in the computer and we're going to draw things down from the cloud, but yet more and more people are actually going back to books. Real books, something you can hold and you can read. Are you having that experience that you're actually discovering books, real books, not the electronic type? And if yes, how do you think that's a different style of learning than just using the internet?
Well, in my schools, they're bringing computers now. We used to go old-fashioned way and use books and research in them, but now they're bringing laptops for us to research. But I enjoy being able to pick up a book and read and process the information from that instead of just scrolling monotonously in the computer.
So that is something that's a little different, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's amazing how that books actually are becoming more popular now, and they thought that books would just cease to exist, and it's actually going the other way. Ethan, what would you like to share with our audience about your experience, maybe working with the Model UN, studying through the global classrooms? That's something that maybe other students out there would like to know that would entice them to come into the program that you're in.
It was a wonderful experience. It teaches you a lot of really good values to know. As Yasmine said earlier, the researching and also being able to communicate and listen to others. But it's also fun, getting to learn about a country that you might have never known about or you might have never learned about, and researching the topic, whatever it may be, is really interesting.
Yasmine, this is going to end. What would be a one-sentence statement about why people should be involved?
It's a great learning opportunity. It's wonderful. You're not going to get anything like that from a computer, and you're going to get those research skills and you'll be able to learn.
Yasmine Bolden and then Ethan Viera, thank you for being with us as we create the Emerald Planet.